Let's see here. Just give it one more minute, guys. You're going to start seeing a lot more people join in. We went from 65 to 84 people in a matter of a minute. So you're going to see some more people join in now. Tamia from Houston, Sharon from Sugarland. Got quite a few people joining in right now. All right, Simone from Houston. All right, guys. So I want to introduce to you guys to one of the top real estate experts in all of the state of Texas. So I just want to let you know, this man has helped so many people buy homes in the entire state of Texas. He is one of the top real estate and mortgage professionals across the entire state. He has so many years of experience. I don't want to steal his thunder at all, but without further ado, I want you guys to get really hyped up because it took so much to actually get this man on a webinar, to actually be educating you here for free. We have nothing to sell you whatsoever. This is just a 1 hour long educational piece from the man himself. So aside from that, let's put our hands together for Bill Rapp. He is going to show you how to buy your next home in today's crazy market and how to save thousands of dollars and hours of time in the entire process. So Bill, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, guys. So go ahead, Bill, do your thing, man.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for everybody for showing up tonight. As Robert introduced me, I am Bill Rapp with Medallion Funds. I've been doing loans. This is my 22nd year in business, and hopefully I can impart some practical wisdom from that time to help you get into a home, save you some money, and help you avoid some potholes along the way. Well, let's go ahead and get started. So some housekeeping for today. Essentially what we're going to do for the format for today is I'm going to talk for about 30 minutes or so to give you the ins and outs of the home buying process. Then we're going to open it up to a Q&A session where there'll be about 30 minutes for you guys to ask any questions you want. Now today I'm really here not as a salesman, but as a teacher. So really do not be shy. Hit me with every question you got. You might as well use my time while we're here. I know that I'm the kind of person, if I don't type away or write down my question as right as it comes to my mind, it'll disappear later whenever it comes to the Q&A session. So we do have a chat box. Feel free to type in any question you want into there. And as well, too, there is a link to schedule a one-on-one consultation with me later after this meeting, where we can go through your personal situation in detail. And really, you can ask me any question you want at that point in time.
So, Bill, just to give you a little bit of insight, that link will be posted inside of the chat box, guys. So every time that Bill mentions and invites you guys for a free one-on-one, Bill has a limited amount of seats to be able to attend each and every one of you. So that link will be on the chat box when he invites you guys. It's already here already in the chat. So if you want to pre-book before everybody else does, you can do so. And Bill, I will be helping you on the questions and answers. So I'm going to be reading those questions and answers out loud in the order they are the order they are given. So if you guys have any questions while Bill is presenting, at the end of the presentation, I will be reading these questions out to Bill, and Bill will answer, to the best of his knowledge. Cool. All right.
Thanks, Robert. All right. So let's move on to the next slide here. Well, yeah, this is a very important one. I remember it's the first time I bought a house. I was definitely a little concerned, definitely a little stressed out, potentially a little intimidated, definitely anxious, and very much uncertain. I'll tell you a little story, so that way we can kind of get to know each other. But when I bought my first house, I was a 580 credit score. And I had also just started a 1099 contractor position. So that's a little bit difficult when it comes to documenting your income as far as getting a mortgage. Luckily, they have such programs such as bank statement programs, which is perfect in what I used to qualify for a house loan at that point in time. We had some issues with getting the appraisal accepted, and it was a new build, and I had to pay the builder a little extra money to get the contract extended, give us a little bit extra time to get the deal closed. Lesson learned there is there's always, when there's a will, there's a way. I have closed hundreds, if not thousands, of transactions over the years, and I've learned a great deal since then. So hopefully I can use some of that practical knowledge to help you guys get into a home. But definitely, if you're feeling a little concerned, a little stressed out, let's try to push that to the side, and we'll set your fears at ease. Moving on to our next slide. That's me and my smiling face over there. I'm Bill Rapp. I'm the capital advisor with a company called Medallion Funds Mortgage. While we're here, please don't forget to set up a virtual meeting with us. The link's right here in the chat. It's homebuyerswebinar.us/bill-rap/book. But we'll get a little one-on-one consultation for you to ask any personal questions that you don't feel comfortable typing in the chat box. But I do want to say to each and every one of you here today, thanks for taking the time to be here with us. My team and I do believe that it's our personal mission to help get families into homes, mainly because there's a lot of potential wealth building features to buying a house, not only the ability for a home to appreciate, but for the ability for you to write off the interest on that loan too. It's really just the American dream right there in action. So remember, I'm here to answer your questions as we walk through everything and as I walk you through the process. So don't hold back and please hit me with everything you got at the end. Okay, there they are. So there's about 8 different things here that we're trying to hit on the high notes. But this webinar is definitely for you if you're looking for a little clarity regarding the housing market. Welcome. If you're paying over $2,000 a month in rent, thank you for being here. If you're thinking of buying a home soon, well, you're definitely in the right place. Are you tired of having a landlord? Well, you should be. So yeah, I get it. But yeah, welcome. We're going to get you to where you want to be. If you have a family and you're not living in the dream home, living the American dream quite yet, welcome. We're going to get you there. If you're looking to gain valuable financial knowledge, well, you're in the right place. If you want to stop wasting money on rent and gain equity in your home, yeah, you're definitely in the right place here. And if you're just looking to understand a little more about the home process, well, we're glad you came. Once again, there is a link over here that they'll be posting in the chat box. This is for you to set up a one-on-one call with me. It's homebuyerswebinar.us/bill-rap/book. Moving right along. So here are a few little situations that if these apply to you, we definitely want you to schedule that one-on-one so we can address everything just to make sure that you're up to date and current and won't have any issues during the home buying process. So if your credit score is 580 or higher, we definitely can get you taken care of, but we always want to put a plan in place for you. So please just give me a call. If you filed bankruptcy or had a foreclosure in the past 2 to 4 years, please definitely reach out, schedule that one-on-one. Do you have established trade lines on your credit report at this point in time? That is something that we need to have in there for the qualifying the house loan. It's basically just to show that you're making current payments on things. Have you made any late payments in the past 12 months? If so, it's still possible to qualify you, but we definitely want to talk about this a little more. Are your taxes up to date at this point? That's something we definitely check during the home buying process. So let's definitely talk about that. Are you current in repayment on your student loans? That's definitely something that's going to affect things if you aren't. There are programs like forbearance, but again, let's talk one-on-one and we'll figure all that out for you. Have you worked in the last 2 years or at least have relevant work experience? Just give me a call or set up that call and we can talk a little more about your situation. And here's the most important one, I think. Are you currently saving money the way you're paying your bills every month right now? And if the answer is yes, that's good. Because we don't want to get you into a house and then you're going to be house poor and you're not saving money. The whole point of this exercise is really to put you in a better financial position than where you're at right now. And so let's talk about it, make sure we can get you taken care of. Moving right along. Okay, so the next 5 slides here are going to be different perspectives on the home buying process. And this is just real high level, just to kind of give you a taste of what's going on in the background. But I would definitely recommend starting the process with getting pre-approved by a lender. And of course, there's no better lender than me. I've been doing this 22 years and would love to earn your business. When we're doing your pre-qualification, we're really going to look at your budget to figure out whatever your monthly housing expense could be and whatever the total price for the house could be. Those are the two big things. So we need to know how much you're going to pay monthly and how big of a house you're going to get. And then also, conversely, how much of it's going to cost as far as the down payment and closing costs. So the next step, we're going to really discuss your breakdown of your monthly payment. And every monthly payment is going to have, your actual loan payment, the portion that goes towards the insurance for the home, the portion that goes towards the taxes for the home. And then you may or may not have mortgage insurance included in that as well. Give me a second. Moving on to the next step, we need to calculate the amount that you're going to need to spend at the closing table. So there's two main categories for that. A, you have your closing costs, and then B, you have your actual down payment portion. So together, that's what you have to bring to the table to settle up. Big two things are how much you're going to pay monthly and how much you're going to pay at the closing table. Obviously, you want to work closely with me and my team to make sure that we can deliver a smooth process for you from the beginning to the end. But if you take the time to set up that initial consultation, that's the first step on getting you to the right path. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so it's very important to choose a realtor with a strong real estate and lender partnership. We're able to help prevent you going through any potholes in the road. It's very important for us to have good communication too. I do recommend several different realtors if you don't know somebody, but obviously I'm glad to work with anybody you know as well. But usually after that first initial selection of your realtor, you're probably going to want to have a conversation with them about your wants and needs, as well as your likes and dislikes. And that way they can kind of determine, A, what you're looking for, and B, start sending you a list of homes. And then when you start getting those list of homes, then you kind of figure out and whittle down that list to figure out which ones you actually do want to go see. The next step would obviously be to go check out the houses and figure out which one's going to be the right one for you. There's something to be said for going to actually check out the house too. There might be things that you think you don't like when you're looking at pictures, and you might like when you get to see the home in person, and vice versa. There could be stuff that just you wouldn't expect that you maybe wouldn't like so much. So definitely go check them out in person. Once you've found the home that you like, then you'll get with your realtor to write a contract on the house, and they can work with you and the seller to negotiate the final selling price for the house and any closing cost assistance you need built into the transaction. All right. Okay, so at that point, once you've agreed with the seller, we're going to have a purchase contract. The realtor is going to send me a copy of that contract, and we're going to get your loan into high gear. One of the first things we need to do is lock in your loan to prevent that interest rate from changing before you get to closing. You may not know this, but interest rates can fluctuate day to day by a large amount and also by a very little amount too. So, but basically the point is they can change, and they can change every day. Once you have that locked in, your pricing is guaranteed for you. After we've got that done, you need to worry about getting your home inspected. The importance of that is just to make sure that there's not any structural deficiencies that you might have with the home. And anything that pops up in that report too is also negotiating or a bargaining piece as far as negotiating the price or getting your more seller concessions at that point. Another part we'll need to do is get home insurance for the home. I happen to work with a number of great insurance agents that can help you find the right policy at the right price. Obviously, we can work with anybody you know as well. But if you do need a recommendation, feel free to reach out. Next step from there is we'll have to order an appraisal on the home. So essentially that report is, we're going to figure out whatever the price on the home is. And we want that to match whatever you're paying for it. Now, if it's more or less, it's more, that's a positive thing for you as the buyer. You don't have to tell anybody about that. But if it's less, then that can open up the door for you to renegotiate with the seller. And that will get you and your realtor involved at that point in time. But moving right along, step number 4, we're definitely going to have to make sure that we have the proper title to the home. And the title to the home is basically, we want to make sure that the seller has the right to sell the home to you. And that way the title company can properly convey the title to you as the buyer. So the title company is going to get the contract whenever I do usually, and they'll work on preparing the initial title report. The purpose of that title insurance is to ensure that you, the new policyholder, will not have anybody who says they've got a claim to your title down the road. Once you figured out that everything's kosher on that front, then we're going to want to go ahead and engage the title company to get a survey for us. Now, that's only if the seller doesn't have an existing survey that we could use, because that's some money we could save you if not. But if they don't have one, then we do have to order a new one, is how that works. So right before closing, too, you're probably going to want to do a walkthrough again. And that's because after everybody's moved their furniture out of the home, there might be some stuff that was covered up. More often than not, that's rarely ever the case, but that's something you do have to check for. It's just as a precautionary measure. Yeah, that's what we need the title company for. Moving on to the next step. So when we get close to the closing, and after we've obtained your clear to close with the underwriter, after all your loan conditions have been met, then we'll prepare what's called a closing disclosure, which is basically our best estimate of whatever the final amounts will be at closing. We'll email that to you. You sign off on it. And it's mandatory that we wait 3 days after that to be able to close your loan. So after that's happened, probably want to reach out to your real estate agent to make sure that any repairs that you guys had agreed with the seller that were to be done are done at that point in time. And next step is really we're going to go ahead and proceed to closing. You probably want to check with both the title company and me, the lender, to make sure that we're ready to go forward with closing. But more often than not, that is usually the case. And whenever you go to the title company, we're going to send the money basically to fund your loan. So after you've signed all the paperwork, they're going to send it back to the bank. They'll check to make sure all the signatures are in the right place. And when they do see that they are, they'll give what's called a funding number to the title company, and they'll release those funds for your transaction, and you get the keys to your home. So basically, at that point in time, you bought a house, and now you're a homeowner. Congratulations, you just bought your first house. That's really the high level overview of how we got there. Now, unfortunately for us, that's just where your journey has just begun. So, do you guys have any questions so far? Please remember to type them in the chat box for us. As well, if you'd like to schedule a one-on-one appointment with me, you can you do so by clicking on the link homebuyerswebinar.us/bill-wrap/book. But feel free to answer any questions. And I think Robert's going to pop in and help us with that at this point.
Yes. So very quickly, before we get to the questions, I know that you have to let us know a little bit about, the common myths and mistakes that home buyers make, which should be in your next couple of slides. But guys, I've noticed that a lot of people have been private messaging me about the free one-on-one. Guys, this is something that is, well, Bill, you don't really have to mention the link the entire time, every single time. It'll be on the chat box, guys. Click that same link in the chat box. This is exclusive to only the people that are here on this webinar. It's a free one-on-one, and it's for Bill and his team to help you build a customized game plan towards home ownership. All right. So once again, that link is inside of the chat box. Click on that link before we book out. We only have an available 40 slots for tonight, and we already have about 10 of those already booked out. So by the end of tonight, Bill is going to be booked out. So book before everybody gets booked out. All right. So do your thing, Bill.
All righty. Moving on to the myths. Here's probably the most common question I get. Who pays for the real estate commission? So whenever the listing agent goes to the seller, they're going to present the offer to pay both sides of the commission. It's just standard practice in the residential industry right now. So basically, the point of that is you don't have to pay for your realtor when you're buying a home. You might as well have a realtor to have somebody negotiate on your behalf. And it's really not coming from your pocket because it's already been agreed to be paid by the seller. Myth number one. So you might be wondering what I should do now. Well, obviously, the first thing to do, as I mentioned earlier, is to discuss with a local lender what is best for your financial future. Hey, I do loans. I'm a pretty good guy. Hopefully, I can take care of you. Right now is a great time to buy and sell a house. And hopefully you'll be scheduling a one-on-one consultation with me where we can kind of figure out your home buying timeline in a little bit more detail. That way you have something to plan around and kind of know what to expect at that point in time. All right, and then here are those 5 myths. Beliefs and mistakes to avoid while buying your first home in today's market. Number one, you should have 20% down. I think if I remember correctly, it's about 10% is the statistical average of what most people do put down. We do have programs for little as 0% down, but those require a rural property or B, you to be a veteran. But as far as a conventional loan, we do have options to put it down as little as 3%. So yes, you could have 20% to put down, but the true answer is no, you don't need it. You need as little as 3% in most cases. Myth number two, you must have a high credit score. Well, as you heard from earlier from me, I bought my first house with a 580 credit score. And 580 is the low benchmark for what you need to get the maximum financing for a house. On an FHA loan, that would get you a 3.5% down payment. So that's not true. You don't need to have a high credit score to buy a house. Number three, you should purchase a home at the top end of your approval. Not true. And the reason being is my job is to put you into a home that you're going to be comfortable with down the road. And you probably don't want to be eating ramen every night. You probably want to go out and have a social life. You don't want to be house poor is really kind of the point here. So really buy something that you're comfortable with the payments on. And really you don't need to buy the absolute most that you can at any given time. Myth number four, try to buy a home on your own. Well, it's this is statistically the largest investment that most people buy in the US. And you can end up losing money when you're buying a house if you're not qualified. That's for one. You can lose your earnest money, or you can just end up spending too much on repairs, or if you don't have a realtor negotiating for you, you might not get the best price for your home. And really, we need to work with a good professional team like myself and the agents I work with. That way, you won't run into issues, I guess, is the bigger point here. And myth number five, you don't want to use an inexperienced realtor or lender. Kind of goes hand in hand with what I was just telling you too. But mistakes are costly, and really, that at the end of the day, is you don't want to make any mistakes, especially when your money's on the line. Realtors need to be negotiating on your behalf. Lenders, such as myself, need to be brokers and not retail lenders who are going to charge you a lot more to get your loan done. And brokers can shop the market. For instance, we're set up with 150 different lending institutions. So really, my job is to get you the best price on your home loan, also to make it smooth. And I love what I do. So please set up that one-on-one consultation with me so I can take care of you and your family. Now, if you do decide to meet with me one-on-one, we can go into more detail on your specific situation. And there's going to be a link that's going to be put into the chat box for you. So some more things to consider when you're searching. Are you buying this home as a primary residence or an investment? So this could make a difference in your pricing. It could also make a difference in your down payment. So those are two big factors that you might want to bring up with us or with me, so that way we can figure out what you're looking for. Whether or not you're going to be living in this home for a long time or just a short time. So this is a 3 to 5 year house. It's important for us to know that, so that way we don't buy down your interest rates. That way you don't end up spending money that you might not recoup. Now, if this is going to be your forever house, this might make sense to buy down your interest rate in that situation. So this is just good information for you to share with me. Can you afford the payments comfortably? That's our number one objective, is make sure you're comfortable, as well as saving money and getting the home you want. And current interest rates are only part of the equation. As you may know, interest rates have risen quite a bit recently. The big point here is that when they come down, and they will, most likely Q3, Q4 of this year is kind of what I'm expecting. I'll be the first person to call you to go ahead and lower your interest rate at that point in time. There's one big saying that we have in the mortgage industry right now, and it's marry the house and date the rate. So you fall in love with the house, you marry the house, but you're only dating the rate because we can end up refinancing your loan down the road. So moving right along. So what does a home cost in our market? Really, at the end of the day, it's a supply demand issue. And when it comes down to it, there's three important factors that generate demand for buyers: their household income, their credit score, and their down payment. Uh, Really, that's when you have all three, you have high demand. And if you're missing one, you don't have as much demand. So when you have high demand, prices tend to increase. When you have low demand, prices tend to decrease. It's simple economics when you get right down to it. Well, we're getting close to the end, guys. Appreciate you taking the time to sit here with us, but it's time for us to get you in on the game now. I want to see you see myself handing you those keys and you getting the home of your dreams. See this next one. Well, folks, this is where we're here. This has been our first time homebuyer class. We hope you're feeling a little bit more prepared. Remember, I'm not in the salesperson role today. I'm here as an educator. Um, please do click the link in the chat and schedule that 30-minute call with us. I look forward to speaking with you, and we're going to get close to this Q&A session very soon.
All right, so if you can go to the next slide, we can get started with the questions and answers, man. So we have a ton, I mean a ton of good questions here. So
All right.
we did notice that when I had mentioned that we had 40 slots available, we got a ton of people booking. So we have a total of 17 book appointments right now out of the 40. So we only have 23 spots left. And I know for a fact that within these questions and answers, a lot more people wanting to book, like Mimi and a couple of other people that I see here on the chat box. So I wanted to go name by name, thanking all of you guys that have booked before we get to the questions and answers. So I'm gonna just briefly go through it. So we got Kenya, Cowlin, we have Taylor, Crystal, Rokisha, Raynol, Fernica, Latoya, Tanya, Myrna, CD, Latanya, Kimberly, Jamelia, Tiana, Marquez, and Quentin. Thank you so much for booking your free one-on-one. And Pamela Jones, I see you just booked here as well. We only have just about 22 more spots available to book your free one-on-one with Bill and his team to have him build you a free customized game plan towards homeownership. So without further ado, let's start answering some questions. So I'm just gonna go scroll all the way to the top and answer them one by one. And I see Jacqueline and Montoyo. I saw that you guys just booked. Thank you for booking the free one-on-one. Let's see here. First question is from Tierra. Is this webinar good for people who expect to become a homeowner through their Section 8 voucher? I don't think so, right?
I don't. I don't is the answer to that. Yeah, I can recommend somebody who does work with the city that can help you with that, though. So if you want to, you can still book the time. I'd be totally open to talking with you.
Yeah, as long as the income is there and you're ready to, to move forward, then absolutely book that free one-on-one, Tierra. But if you're just not ready just yet, maybe, maybe you need to get your credit, maybe you need to get your income in order before, moving forward. But Winnie, Janet, thank you for booking your free one-on-one. I see you here. iPhone number 12 asked, are you able to assist with obtaining military forms? Because my husband is a veteran and his DD-214 form was lost in Harvey. Also, well, that's the first part of the question. Can you answer that?
Yes, so there is archive systems out there that we can request those forms from. It can take a little bit longer depending on when he was discharged, but yes, the answer to the question is yes, we can help with that.
All right, so iPhone 12's second question is, also, which credit reporting are you basing the credit on? For example, my Experian report is 579. So what is it based on?
That's a good question. What we do is we'll pull all three and we go with the middle of the three. If there's only two scores, then it's the lower of the two. And if it's only one, then we just use whichever score has a score. So it could be that Experian. It also might not be that Experian. It just depends on where the other two scores lie.
All right. So if you have an iPhone number 12, click that link in the chat box, book your free one-on-one so we can see where you're at. So we can take you from where you're at today to actually becoming a homeowner and help your husband get his military forms back as well. So there you go. Especially, Bill, can you kind of go over what are the benefits of a VA loan for veterans?
Sure, sure. I actually happen to do a lot of VA loans for veterans. We do have the ability to do manual underwriting for veterans, which is a huge way to expand the product offering. Um, I've done credit scores as low as 530 for veterans. The higher the credit score, obviously, the easier it is to get done. The VA likes your back end ratio to be under 41%. And if your scores are north of about 560, it's usually pretty easy to get an approval on that program.
Okay. So down payment, what, zero down payment?
Zero down payment to 4% for closing costs. So a lot of times we can roll in most of the transaction costs where you might not even need you need to have put earnest money down into the contract, but in a lot of chances we can actually get that earnest money refunded to you too.
I got you,
So
man.
nothing down.
Just really quick, want to thank Jamie and Tamia, Meshel, Charvita, Shamika, and Easy and Janet for booking your free one-on-one. Bill, we're going to run into a problem, man. We're going to probably book up a little faster than what we normally do. Is it all right that we can increase the capacity from 40 total appointments to 50? Are you okay
Yeah,
with that?
I'm more than okay with that. Yep.
Okay, thank you, thank you. So, moderator, we're going to go ahead and increase the capacity from 40 to 50. We'll take care of that on the back end for you, so you wouldn't have to. So let's move on to the next question, guys. Crystal Tolbert, do you have information for different qualifying programs available to home buyers? And are there any programs for educators?
Yes. So one of the really flexible things about being a broker and working with a number of institutions is that there are a number of different programs, and there are different programs specifically for teachers. Yes. Uh, we do have bond programs, which are usually pretty effective too for teachers as well. But if you want to schedule a one-on-one, we can go into specifics on that, a little bit more detail.
Got you. So guys, click that link in the chat box. Thank you, Bill, for being generous enough to extending the amount of appointments available from 40 to 50, because so far we've already booked 28 appointments out of those 40, and we're just booking way too fast. So guys, click that link in the chat box, book Bill out. We always book every single webinar regardless. So please do that before we're all booked out and you can't get your slot. So now the next question is from Yumika. Is there assistance programs for healthcare workers? What about property taxes being exempt at a certain age?
Yes, and yes is the answer to that larger question. But yeah, there are programs designed specifically for healthcare workers. AFR has a great program for that. And yes, if your taxes are exempt, because of a veteran status too, that's another way to get those taxes reduced.
All right.
It makes
So
it easier to qualify too.
there you go. So, all right, guys, click that link in the chat box, book your free one-on-one. Let's see here. We just answered that question. So if we answer already some questions, we're just going to skip through them so we don't, waste time on duplicate questions. Let's see here. Coleman Tanya said, I am a realtor. Is there a way I can partner up with Bill? I also have some clients that are looking for down payment assistance. Do you assist with any type of program?
Yes and yes. I'd be glad to work with you, Tanya. And yeah, we do have a number of down payment assistance programs out there. And thankfully, the market has kind of turned where sellers are more willing to accept the offers for down payment assistance programs. So yeah, please schedule a one-on-one and we'll chat some more.
She's already booked. She's booked for tomorrow at 5:30.
Cool. Cool.
All right. So Tanya,
Tanya.
Bill will be talking with you tomorrow at 5:30 at the time that you booked. All right. So don't you worry about a thing. Let's see here. So Tamia asked the same question about down payment assistance program. So the answer is yes. He is a brokerage that has a nice portfolio of people that he can kind of basically price shop for you. So instead of you going to another person to price shop for different kind of rates and loan types, Bill is the person that you can price shop with, and he can show you that. So now Lauren Smoke asked, do you work with new builds?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. The only problem I would say about that, and it's not really a problem, is that generally your taxes are much lower at the initial purchase and they do accelerate a little bit over time. So just be wary that your payment could increase over time, but we'd be glad to help you with a new home build for sure.
All right, guys, we only have 22 slots available to book your free one-on-one. So we are more than halfway booked out with Bill Rapp. So click that link in the chat box, book your free one-on-one before we are booked out, guys. So the next question is from Charita. Do you assist with buying land? How does that process work?
So I don't do loan programs for land unless it's a commercial transaction where we're looking 5 million plus. Now I do work with some local banks here in the Houston area that I can refer you to. Generally, they're a 20% down situation, and you'd be working with a local bank for financing. But they'll give you generally a 2-year term to go ahead and have the structure built on it afterwards. But yeah, I can get you in touch with the right people to get you taken care of for that.
All right, so click that link in the chat box, book your free one-on-one. All right, so Lesia and Shannon, thank you for booking your free one-on-one. 20 slots available. Actually, and we have Miss Wyatt also booked that free one-on-one. We only have 19 slots available. KB, 18 slots available. Book your free one-on-one. Click that link in the chat box, guys. So question from Paulette. If someone has a 10-year felon, can this prevent them from getting into a townhouse?
Uh, Not necessarily. Generally, that is not going to report on your credit report. Um, if it was 10 years ago, it's not likely to show up on their residential work history as well. As long as their credit's in good standing, I don't see why that would affect them long term.
There you go. So Yumika, if you decided to build from the ground up on your next home, how does that work?
Well, yeah, I definitely do ground up construction loans. We offer them conventional FHA, VA, as well as USDA. Um, Essentially, you're gonna have your lot. You generally own the lot ahead of time. We can do it the other way around, but it's much safer to have the lot ahead of time. Then you can go out and reach out to a contractor or builder to put the plans together. Once we have the plans and the lot, then we just do the construction financing from there forward. Usually a 60 to 90-day turn time at that point in time.
All right. iPhone also asked, what's a trade line? This was actually asked at 7:48 p.m., which basically was a question when you were going over the credit trade lines.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good question. A trade line is basically an account that is reporting on your credit. So, say for instance, you had a credit card, that would be a trade line. If you had a loan, that would be a trade line. If you had a mortgage, that'd be a trade line. If you had a car loan, that'd be a trade line. It's basically some account that you have credit for. That's what that would be.
All right. Okay, so that's interesting. CD said, I'm interested. CD, I see that you booked your free one-on-one here. Thank you very much. We only have 18 slots available to book your free one-on-one since KB booked the last appointment. 18 slots available before we are completely booked out for the free one-on-ones with Bill. Remember, Bill is going to help you go from where you're at today to actually becoming a homeowner. So he's going to help you build that game plan completely for free. And then from there, he's even going to put you in contact with the top real estate agents across the entire state of Texas in your local area. So he's going to be able to help you build those connections and put you with the right people. So Bill is going to be that person that just takes you through the part. He's basically the gatekeeper, which lets you know whether you can or cannot buy a home. If you can, great. He's going to help you go get a realtor, which is where you're going to have the most fun, which is always the fun part, right? So you can start finding that home of your dreams. So Bill is going to take you from that piece, from where you're at today, to help you getting prepared to be able to afford a home. So if you're not there just yet, he will create that game plan with you to be able to get into a home and be able to prep you to be able to buy a home. So then once you are ready, he'll put you in contact with one of his preferred realtors because he only works with the best of the best. And then once he puts you with that realtor, now it's just having fun. And you're searching for your home and figuring out what you like, what you don't like, and what areas work for you, what doesn't. And so then you can be able to, save some money, save thousands, in hours of time in the process. That's what we do. So Keisha, I see that you booked your free one-on-one, 17 slots available. Paulette just asked, can you help us with our credit score?
Yes and no. Yeah, I definitely can make recommendations that wouldn't involve you getting into a relationship with a credit repair company. I'm not perfect at that, so I can make recommendations, but if there are certain situations where we could rescore, that's more often for what I look for in that situation. But yes, I can definitely help you with your credit. One thing we'll probably do if the credit's an issue is when we do our consultation, we can get that credit report pulled and kind of look at it in a little bit more detail for you.
So I always like to say that if you're buying a home, you can always improve your credit. It's just much harder to fix your income, because if you're working at a job that's just not paying you enough, it's very hard to get yourself into a home. Not saying it's not possible, but it's just very difficult, because what comes along with a low income comes higher debt. And can you talk about that DTI, or what the debt to income ratio is, so you can kind of give
Sure.
them a little insight?
Yeah. So debt to income ratio is the ratio of whatever your income and whatever your debt payments are together. We generally don't want to see that ratio go above 50% of what you're making on a gross basis. So before taxes, obviously the lower the better. Yeah, like you said, it's a function of income for sure. People with lower income generally have a little bit more credit card debt as well. So, but yeah, I mean, I'd be glad to take a look at your situation in more detail, and we'll figure out whatever the problem is.
All right. So Winnie just asked, are there more programs that help first-time home buyers?
There are, yeah. So there are a number of different down payment assistance programs out there. One of the things you need to look out for is a lot of down payment assistance programs really just increase your interest rate to get you that financing.
Mhm.
There are actually true HUD-based down payment assistance programs that will give you that assistance without jacking up your interest rate. My job is to help you find those programs that are not going to charge you a crazy interest rate to get the deal done.
All right. So Sabrina, I see that you just booked your free one-on-one. Thank you very much. We only have now about 15 slots available to book that free one-on-one before Bill is completely booked out for the night. And for the next couple of days, for the next 2 weeks or so. Remember, Bill does not have a million arms and legs to be able to help each and every one of you guys out. His time is limited. If he was an AI, maybe he'll be able to help each and every one of you out, but not. He is not. He is only able to provide his experience and his knowledge to each and every one of you individually. So that has a capacity, guys. Click that link in the chat box, book your free one-on-one so Bill can help you take you from where you're at today to actually becoming a homeowner. All right, next question is, let me scroll down. If I am not, this is from Crystal Tolbert. This is not first time purchasing for them. Do I still qualify?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. We can definitely help you. Be glad to talk with you a little further.
So Crystal, I see that you booked your free one-on-one. She is booked for 12 p.m. on Monday, March 13th.
All right. Looking forward to it.
All right. So Crystal, we'll see you then. So let's see here. This is a good one from Tim. Should I buy a home now in this market since they're much higher, or should I just wait? So tell me about prices and interest rates. How is that looking, and why should I buy today?
Okay, good question. A good reason to buy today rather than waiting is that we're at one of those inflection points in the market. Whereas over the past year or two, we haven't seen much flexibility from sellers on their price. We haven't seen sellers paying closing cost assistance. And when in doing so, when the market inflects like that, the sellers are more willing to pay closing cost assistance, more willing to negotiate on price. You see buyers getting better deals. So right now is actually a great time for a buyer to be in the market. And recent data is showing that the number of home buyers out there have started to pick up since January. And right now, that's a perfect reason for you to buy now.
All right. So the next question is, guys, click that link in the chat box, book your free one-on-one before we are booked out. The next question is, let's see here. This is from Yumika. How does HOA work?
So an HOA, homeowners association, is a group that basically looks out for a neighborhood. Not every neighborhood is going to have a homeowners association. For instance, my house does not have one. But they set a rate yearly that you have dues to the organization. And generally that organization will mow the common area grass, uh, enforce code violations, and basically just look after the neighborhood to make sure it doesn't decline is the kind of general concept there. But if you have any more questions, feel free to schedule a chat and we can talk a little bit more.
All right. And that link will be in the chat box, guys. So Utopia asked, what's the policy on multi-unit owner occupied units? Are there any options using FHA or maybe, 0% down payment programs?
Yes. And I love that question because it's a very smart question. Uh, FHA is a fantastic program for buying multi-unit properties. You can definitely get a 4-unit, have the 3 other people pay your rent for you, pay your mortgage for you. If you're paying your mortgage on top of that, you're knocking out that principal so quick. So that's one huge advantage of that. But yeah, so we do add the income from the additional units to your qualifying income. So it increases the amount of income you make and the income we can use for your loan.
All right. So 15 more slots available to book your free one-on-one. Click that link in the chat box. By the way, that's the same question that Elaine asked as well. Can I purchase a multifamily property as a first-time home buyer? And the answer, Bill, is yes.
Yes, good job, Elaine.
All right. So Jocelyn asks, when does the underwriting review your loan and information? When does the underwriter review your loan and information? There you go.
So when we do a pre-approval, I will be the one who looks over your income docs, your bank statements. Once we have the official contract for your home, then we'll send it in to get it reviewed by an underwriter. So it's usually within the first week after you buy the home is the best answer to that.
There you go. Mimi just said, I would like to schedule a call for the free one-on-one. So guys, click that link in the chat box, book your free one-on-one if you haven't already. We only have 15 slots available. Remember, Bill is going to take you from where you're at today to actually buying a home. And not only that, there are a couple more little bonuses that Bill will be giving you during that free one-on-one, but that is exclusive for only the people that book that free one-on-one, guys. Aside from that, let's see here. We have Miss Wyatt saying, I would love to book a free one-on-one, schedule a call. So I see that you already did. Thank you for booking. Bridget as well. I want to book. Click that link in the chat box, Bridget. I don't think I see you here just yet. Let's see here. Well, this is the felony question. You just went over it. That's from Daryl. I'm just going over skipping because we have a lot of questions. I'm just going over through the ones that we already did go through. All right. This is from Lanisha asking, how can we find out if purchasing a home, including a mortgage and promissory note, is involved in the closing process of us purchasing a home? So is a promissory note involved in the closing process?
Yes, yeah. You'll have to sign a mortgage note. Anytime you borrow money, there will be a note involved. Yes, ma'am.
All right. So iPhone 12 is Shannon Jackson, and I see that you booked your free one-on-one. Maria, loans only cover for the purchase of a home or also cover lots of the property? I don't really understand that question.
I understand the question. She's asking whether or not the lien would cover just the house or the land. The lien would cover the entire property, land and home is the answer to that.
Jamelia asked, do you have a program where the buyers pay for the closing costs? I don't think.
Yeah, that would just be a traditional type loan.
Yeah, it's just convincing them or persuading them to purchase the closing costs or to buy out the closing costs for you.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And a lot of times the seller can pay for those too. So that's something we can work with your realtor to help you navigate that portion. But if you have any more questions, please schedule some more time and we can talk.
There you go. Lane should ask, are there programs for first responders, like, crisis
Yes.
workers
Yep.
too?
Yep. Absolutely. There are. Yep. Um, there's AFR has a program. That's the first program I could think of, but there are a number. Yes, there sure are.
All right, so Lanisha, click that link in the chat box, book your free one-on-one. We only have 13 slots available to book before we are booked out. All right. I see Shannon has scheduled, Wyatt has scheduled. Let's see here. CD said, I'm a healthcare worker, so thank you very much for being a healthcare worker. Christian Ruiz, I have excellent credit and I have a 3% down payment. However, I don't make the $70,000 a year. Will the only option be to get a cosigner?
It sounds like there might be a DTI issue there. And yes, if that's the case, then a cosigner would fix that. You might also want to look at doing an FHA loan instead of a conventional loan, which will allow for a slightly higher debt to income ratio. And that way you could do it on your own. And if you want to take a look at that, please just schedule a consultation. We can talk more.
There you go. So Christian, book your free one-on-one. Click that link in the chat box. Just put that note that you can get a cosigner, and then Bill will be able to help you look into that and seeing what options for you are available. Because if you're close to that number in terms of income, maybe a cosigner and some extra income might be able to help you out with a cosigner. Let's see. I'm not sure if this is even existent or even exists. Danielle asks, are there programs for single mothers or fathers to help with down payment? I don't think there is, no.
No, not for single mothers or fathers, but there are programs for buyers in general that you would qualify for. So yes and no, I guess, is the answer to that question.
Yeah. iPhone 12, which is Shannon. What if you have your own land?
iPhone 12. I like that question. Yeah, own land is a great way to do a construction loan. If you want to do construction loan with a manufactured or a stick built house, be glad to help you.
We only have 11 slots available to book your free one-on-one, guys. Click that link in the chat box before we are booked out. 11 slots. We had 40. We had to extend it out to 50. And now we only have 11 slots available to book your free one-on-one, guys. Click that link in the chat box. All right. Erica Rose, how is the housing market in the Woodlands right now? Do you know?
I can give you a high level overview on that's more of a realtor question. But the Woodlands, as well as Heights, well as uh, Timber Grove, are all doing fairly well. Average day on market is right about 60 days. But I mean, yeah, I mean it's about par for the course for the industry right now. Um, Outside of that, I probably couldn't be the best answer for that question.
All right. So Lawania Lenford, thank you for booking your free one-on-one. We only have 10 slots left to book before we are booked out. And this is a good question from Cowlin Wesley. If you have student loan debt, how does it affect you buying a home?
Good question. Yeah. So any student loan debt would have to be counted into your debt to income ratio. Recently, FHA, Fannie, and Freddie have all aligned that we use 0.5% of whatever your outstanding balance is as the mandatory monthly minimum payment that we have to use to qualify you. Used to be double that. So they've made steps to make it easier for people with student loans. So
All right, guys, there's a link there to book your free one-on-one. We only have 10 slots available. Click that link in the chat box, guys. It's going to be there. We're going to post it now. KC asked, does buying an inventory home or is buying an inventory home the same price as building from the ground up?
Well, so an inventory home is probably not the same price as building from the ground up, if I understand your question correctly. A, because it's still new construction. Uh, and there is one caveat to that too. But if you were the last home that you bought that's an inventory home, then they offer generally some pretty huge reductions to get that subdivision closed out. So it can be a good buy, but more often than not, you're still paying a new home price.
There you go. So Christian Ruiz, thank you for booking your free one-on-one. 9 slots available until we're booked out. So we have Jocelyn Chambers asking, oh, this is a good question. This is a higher level question. Do your underwriters review the loan application prior to approval?
Yep, yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, when we do send it up for initial loan, they would review disclosures in the loan app and any initial documentation. So yeah, within the first week or so, you should have an answer on that.
All right. We have Cheryl Ann Hutchison asked, I purchased a home in 2010 with FHA and I lost it to divorce in 2015. That's definitely a hard time. Can I purchase a house now, especially as a single mom at the age of 51?
Yes, ma'am, you sure can. FHA is 3 years out.
There you go. Click that link in the chat box. I'm just having a little bit of issues pronouncing the name. Tabia, if that's how you pronounce it. I'm just don't want to butcher it. And please, I apologize as well. I'm Hispanic, so my accent can come out as well. Let's see here. So Cheryl, click that link in the chat box, book your free one-on-one. Ibtobia, Robert, you're an awesome MC. Thank you very much. I'll go ahead and message you on the background regarding that. Yumika saying, thank you for all the information. Jocelyn Chambers, will I work directly with Bill or should I expect someone from his team member to contact me?
You
Great
would be
question.
working directly with me, excuse me.
Remember, this is exclusive only to you guys here on this webinar. And so that's why you're getting Bill instead of his team members. All right. So Jocelyn, click that link in the chat box, book your free one-on-one before we are booked out. All right. I already have you here. Let me see. Jacqueline. I've been saying your name wrong because it says it on your, it's just how it's spelled on your Zoom call at 12:30 p.m. Saturday, March 4th. So in 2 days, you'll be speaking with Jocelyn or Jacqueline.
Awesome.
So let's see here. Erica Rose, student loan advice. I still owed a great bit.
We can still qualify loans with student loans. It's not something that necessarily will hold you out. It's when their student loans are in default that can cause a lot of problems. Generally, an FHA loan will probably be the best fit for you with a lot of student loans because they will allow for a little bit higher debt to income ratio.
All right, let's see here. There's just a ton of questions here. I'm just going through all the ones and skipping the ones that
Let's knock them out.
All right, guys. So click the link in the chat box, book your free one-on-one. We are almost booked out for tonight, guys. We only have a solid 7 more slots available to book Bill out for tonight. So Daryl says, is debt consolidation good to decrease credit card debt? I just signed up for AmeriCorps and they want me to stop making payments on credit cards for 2 months and wreck my credit before they negotiate payoffs. I haven't stopped making payments yet.
Thank God you asked. Please do not follow through with whoever is telling you to not make payments on your credit cards. That will wreck your credit. So a consolidation loan would probably be your best objective. There's a company called Lending Club out there that can probably approve your transaction for you. And if you can lump and pay off multiple accounts into a fixed installment account, that would be much preferred to going through with this credit counseling service. That's generally what that kind of company is called, is a credit counseling service. If they're advising you not to make payments, they're not acting in your best interest.
Mm, I gotcha. So let me see here. Just moving on to the next question here. All right, I have scheduled my appointment. Great. Drea says, I am unable to schedule a one-on-one because I don't make the 75K per year overall. I know there are educator home buyers assistance programs we can discuss because many educators do not make 75K or more. So can you help those people out?
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to create a loophole for an educator on that one. Educators usually their loans go through.
All right, so go ahead and click the link in the chat box and say no, but I have a cosigner and it'll let you through. All right, so Lanisha asked, how much does credit affect the type of home that you can purchase?
So the credit you have should not affect what kind of home you purchase. Um, you could purchase a home with a 580 credit score. You could purchase a home. You could purchase a townhouse. You could purchase a fourplex. You could purchase a condo if it was FHA approved. So, I mean, the answer is it shouldn't. I guess is the moral of the story there.
I got you. All right, so let's see here. Do you work with clients that are interested in Brandos?
In what?
In Brandos, it's an area in Texas.
Brandos. Oh yeah, if it's an area in Texas, yeah, but no problem.
There you go. So guys, click that link in the chat box, book your free one-on-one. Lawania asked, do I have to have all my credit cards paid to a zero balance?
No, you don't. If they're under 45% of the total outstanding credit, that is a good positive sign for whether or not your credit scores are being impacted negatively. If they're below that, you should be fine.
All right, so Eutobia, I just sent you a direct message. You can please just answer me on that. That'll be wonderful. Montoya Trust asked, I have to go. Well, said I have to go, but thank you both for your time, and I would look forward to my one-on-one with you. So thank you so much, Montoya. We'll go ahead and see you at your appointment. And Jacqueline said yes, it's pronounced Jacqueline. Thank you. Question from a private message saying, how long does the home buying process take?
Depends on how quickly you find a house, but I can close loans as little as about 15 days. But most average turn times are about 30 days is the answer to that question.
So I have a great question as well. How long does my credit application last me?
That's a really good one. So when we pull your credit report, that is good for 90 days at a time. Provided that your credit does not materially change, all we need to do is re-pull a credit report to extend that amount of time. But the answer is 90 days to that question.
I got you. So Nadria Frazier, I see that you just booked your free one-on-one. Thank you very much. We only have 5 slots available before we're completely booked out, guys. So click that link in the chat box. We're going to paste it right now. 5 slots available before we are completely booked out for tonight. All right, so let's see here. Eric O'Rose saying, thanks, this has been very helpful. Winnie says, and these are private messages, so some people just decide to message me directly. This is from Winnie. So making payments on credit cards is better than paying it off. So as long as you're consistent.
Yes. So it comes back to the outstanding available credit issue. As long as it's below 45% of whatever your total credit limit is, it's better to be making payments is the answer to that question.
I see. I see. So what will be a recommended, this is just me to you, Bill. What will be the recommended credit utilization? Like, let's say I have $10,000 in credit card availability. What will be like the sweet spot to be able to, to be able to
Sweet spot for 10,000 would be under 4,000.
Under 4,000 is what I should have as credit debt.
Yep.
Okay, so that's not bad. Okay. So when he says, okay, thank you, I'll just make sure I just keep paying like I've always been doing. All right. So Winnie, click that link in the chat box, book your free one-on-one if you haven't. Oh, I see you here, Winnie Thomas. scheduled for Friday, tomorrow at 12 p.m. So you're going to speak with Winnie
Awesome.
tomorrow. All right.
We'll
So
see
Winnie, we'll
you.
talk to you then. All right. By the way, webinar moderator, we do not have 6 spots left. We actually have 4 spots available to book your free one-on-one. So if you can change that very quickly, 4 spots available to book your free one-on-one. All right. Click that link in the chat box, guys. So let's see here. We currently do not have any more questions on here, but we did have a question before that I had skipped by accident. And the question is, how does interest rate affect the price points of homes?
So the interest rate should not affect the price point of a home. Now, with that said, interest rates can affect the overall demand, which if the demand decreases, then prices decrease over time. But interest rates are independent of the actual price. So that's the proper answer to that question.
All right. I see here that somebody else just booked 3 spots left to book your free one-on-one. Click that link in the chat box. So by the end of tonight, we will have this entire webinar booked out. We only have just a few spots available. So if you haven't, click that link in the chat box, book your free one-on-one. Remember, that free one-on-one is to have Bill help you build a customized game plan towards homeownership, getting you from where you're at today to save, so you can stop paying your landlord, stop making them rich, and you can start building your own equity and helping you get into your own home, guys. Click that link in the chat box before we are booked out. All right. So in terms of credit card debt, what if you have a derogatory mark on there, like you missed a payment, for example?
Generally, we can be okay with one missed payment. The recency of it is the biggest thing. So if it's outside of 3 months, you have a good chance of that not affecting things. If it's within that 1 to 3 months, that's when it could become problematic. We run a computer program that's going to give us the approve or deny decision. So it's kind of hard to predict when that will or will not happen.
I got you. Okay. So what about bankruptcy? What if you have a bankruptcy? When can you actually buy a home?
Yeah, so FHA is 3 years out for bankruptcy, and it's 5 years out for conventional.
So if I'm a first-time home buyer and I was bankrupt 2 years ago, I cannot buy, and I have to wait 1 more year.
1 more year. Yep.
Okay,
If it's VA, you can buy after 2 years.
got you. So if you're a veteran and you're on this webinar, guys, veterans get basically the best benefits out of any kind of home buyer out there. So if you are a veteran, I don't care if you're an active military service member or an inactive military service member, or you're a veteran, you get an opportunity for that VA loan, which is 0% down payment. And also there might be help on the back end for closing costs and all that stuff as well. You get so many more benefits. Click that link in the chat box, book your free one-on-one. We only have 1 slot available before we're booked out, guys. Just 1 more. Just book this man out before before we do. Jacqueline says, what computer program do you use to approve the buyer?
It's a good question. So Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac each have their own approval engines. And FHA has their own approval engine. USDA has their own approval engine. So there's a few is the answer to that question, but more often that it's Fannie Mae's.
I got you. All right. So guys, that was the last question and we are booked out totally. So I just want to thank each and every one of you tonight for coming and joining us in this webinar. So guys, our audience here, if you can do us a big favor, if you can go ahead and type in the chat box what your experience was, show this man some love, show Bill, you know, all the love that you can. Taylor said, like, hey, can I book twice? And he's like, no, just kidding. Bill, what do you have to say to your audience tonight before we conclude this meeting?
Sure. Well, I wanted to say thank you for being here. Hopefully you guys found this informative and would love to work with each and every one of you. But yeah, really just, I hope you guys have a good evening. Really hope you took something away positive from this experience.
All right. So guys, I wanted to ask you all for a favor, a big, 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 big favor. So for all of you that booked a free one-on-one with Bill tonight, you guys will get a thank you text message. And all the way at the bottom, there is going to be a link where you can give Bill a 5-star Google review on Google. So if you can please do that for Bill, this is what keeps us going to do these webinars. Remember, it's all for free. You know, Bill has blessed us with this time to do this all completely for free. We're not selling anything. If you can give this man 5 stars on Google, that'll really be helpful, so we can, you know, help him build his Google review sheet and all that stuff for how well he's run these webinars, and we can get feedback from him. All right, guys. So thank you very much, Bill. Let's go ahead and click leave meeting. Thank you guys for joining in tonight. And Bill, I will call you shortly.
Awesome. Have a good evening, y'all.